Hi everybody, we made it. It's February 3rd. Tonight I get to start some seeds. I'm gonna be starting 2 cold hardy annuals and 1 tender annual this evening. I'm down in my basement kitchen. We have this area set up now for me to be able to play with my flowers and seed start. We have shelving units set up with lights. I'll show you that in a minute. Everything that you're going to see tonight, I've ordered off of Amazon. We set this up last year, it worked out really well. If you want to give it a try this year, you can just get this stuff on Amazon. You could be ready to start this weekend. It's not too late. So I am in zone 6B. And so typically my last frost date in this area is May 10th, around there. And so the 2 cold hardy annuals I'm starting tonight are going to be going into the garden by the end of March. And those are Sweet William and Foxglove. I grew both of those last year, had good luck with the Sweet William, not so much the Foxglove, but I want it so bad I'm trying it again this year. And then I'm also starting Eucalyptus, which is a tender annual. Eucalyptus has a really long maturation period. It's 120 to 150 days from the time you get that started, or I should say from the time you transplant it into the ground till when it's ready to cut. It's that long. So this will not be ready to go until end of August, beginning of September, but that's really perfect timing for when the dahlias are gonna be blooming. And the eucalyptus looked so pretty with the dahlias last year that I need to do it again. I am gonna grow a bigger patch of eucalyptus this year. I'm putting it in a different area where there's a bit more sun, and I chose a different variety. The variety I had last year pulled blue. That didn't always go well with the flowers, so this year I just went with a more traditional green eucalyptus. So those 3 things we're getting started tonight. Come along with me and check it out. Okay, so I've got all my cells filled up with soil. I'm trying a different soil this year called Coast of Maine. Last year I used the Vermont V Fort something mix. It was pretty expensive and it cost a lot to ship because nowhere around here carries it. So this Coast of Maine, someone told me about, and I'm able to get that off of Amazon, had free shipping, and it was a little bit cheaper. You do have to have a seed starting mix to start seeds. You can't just do this like in potting soil, which is typical to find in all of the big box stores. It's actually hard for me to find around here seed starting soil. I haven't been able to locate it in a store yet, so I have had to ship it. I already started putting seeds in 2 of these. I'm on to my 3rd. I learned a little trick last year just because I'm in menopause and my mind is horrible and I can't remember anything. I have to put a toothpick where I'm at so I don't lose track, and I have to go the same way through these cells every time so I don't lose track of where I am. So I am gonna show you just how small this foxglove is. I do have to have my cheaters on for this. And I have 36 cells here. I have 50 seeds, so some of the cells are getting 2 seeds per cell. But as you can see, they're really tiny, hard to see seeds. So these require light to germinate. So when I put these in, I'm not burying them. I'm just kind of gently pressing them into the soil to make sure we have good contact between the seed and the soil. And then when I'm done with this, I'm gonna put water in this tray. The cells will wick up the water. And then I probably also am going to spray the top a little bit just to make sure we're a little moist on the top. And then this tray will get covered with a dome. That's going to help keep the moisture in as these seeds are working on germinating. In the back of Johnny's seed packets, they're so nice. They tell you if a seed is recommended to be started inside, they will say transplant recommended. recommended. And whatever they're recommending is what they'll start the paragraph off with. So if they're recommending starting it inside, it's going to start with the word transplant, and then it will say recommended. And if they think the seed should be sown outside, it will say direct seed. And the packets tell you exactly what that seed needs to get started. So the back says this seed needs light to germinate, so I know not to cover it. If it did need to be covered, it will tell me how far down the seed needs to go. The packet also tells you the maturation date, which was a little confusing for me when I started this last year. But what I have come to decide on from doing some reading, particularly with Johnny Seeds, is the maturation date. If it's a seed that needs to be transplanted, the maturation date that shows on the front of the envelope is how many days from the time you transplant that seedling to the time it blooms. So that maturation, the number of days, does not start when you start the seed inside, unfortunately. So it really goes by when you get it in the ground. So these seeds that I'm starting tonight, I'm starting them because they have very long maturation periods. Now, you do cut out the germination time by doing it this way. And so that helps because, all right, I'm gonna throw the rest of these in here actually into different spots because there's just a few left. So we're gonna stick them in here and there where I don't think I see. And then if I get germination on all of these, some of them will have to be plucked out. So now that we're done getting the seeds into the soil, I'm gonna put water into the bottom of this tray. This tray right here doesn't have any holes in it, so I'm gonna lift one of these 6-pack cells out and put the water in the tray, and I'm gonna let it sit there for about 10 minutes, and that should be the amount of time that the soil needs to wick up to the top. I might spray a little bit of water on the top as well, and then I am gonna add some vermiculite when that's done. Okay, so these are done sitting in water. I just dumped it out. And by the way, if you're dumping out water that soil has been sitting into, you don't want to probably dump that down your drain. I wouldn't recommend that. There's kind of chunky things in here. And when you dump the tray of water out, things fall out of the cells into that tray. So I always put a bunch of paper towels in the bottom of my sink, and that kind of acts as a strainer as I'm draining. I also have used buckets before, but then it's a pain, they get heavy to carry them outside, so I just kind of use that paper towel method. It'll keep the husbands happy. So I made a label. It says Foxglove. It has the date that I started it on, and then also a favor to myself this year that I learned the hard way last year. I put how far apart I'm gonna plant these once I get them out to the garden. I was finding that I didn't remember. I'd have to run back inside, pull up my computer, my spreadsheets to try to remember that. So I'm gonna be more organized about that this year and have it written right on the tag. And I used pencil. I'm hearing that pencil actually lasts longer on these markers than even garden markers do. So we're gonna try pencil this year, and hopefully that lasts a little bit better. I got these off of Amazon. I think they were 100 for like $6.99, and they are 6 inches. So I'm hoping that these will go into the ground pretty well and act as a good marker for the ground. They are pretty stiff, so I think they're pretty decent quality for the amount of money. Okay, so next thing is I'm gonna add some vermiculite, and I get this at Lowe's. They have it on the shelf right now, but they also do have it online if you're looking for it. I like this brand because it's a very fine vermiculite, and the point of adding vermiculite on top of your seeds is to help them maintain moisture in these cells, and I think it also does help with like algae growing. So I did this last year. It didn't have any type of ill effect that I'm aware of on germination. Even with these seeds that need light, this is very fine. So it's thought that the seeds still get enough light through this fine vermiculite if you put this on top. And I try to keep it pretty even. And then I'm gonna spray this. I think I just found at Lowe's last year too. I'm gonna spray facing down. I don't want to spray this way because I don't want to dislodge the seeds and shoot them out of the cell trays. So I try to go from the top, and it's like a really easy mist to get that top layer some moisture. So I just want to make sure that the top of the soil is damp. I know that the bottom of the cell was wicking up water, so we should be good to go. You never ever want to leave your cells sitting in water in the tray. So if you need to like set timers for yourself, like I usually do, you never want to do that because that can ruin what you've got going on. So this is the humidity dome. Circles so they're like halfway open. So we're going to be putting this on heat mats. We're going to turn on the lights. The lights are going to be far away to start with, but as soon as we get germination, the domes come off. Usually 50% germination, I pull the dome off, and then the lights get dropped down till about like 2 inches above these trays. So they're going to sit on the heat mat just until we get 50% germination. They come off the heat, get them closer to lights is generally how this goes. You want to make sure that your soil never dries out. So, you know, you can kind of check it and see. You would do a bottom watering, maybe a little bit of a mist on the top as the seeds are starting to germinate. Even after they germinate, it's good to give them a little squirt from the top. Sometimes seeds will have helmet heads on them, like the hard part of the seed gets stuck on the plant, and if you're giving them a little bit of a spray, that helps them shed that helmet head a little bit more. So we're going to get these on to heat mats and under the lights. Okay, just to show you our shelving setup. So these are shelves that I bought off of Amazon. They're 82 inches high, 18 inches deep, and 48 inches wide. The lights aren't on right now. We get them on a timer, so they're going to turn on. The ones just above the seeds that we started will turn on at 4 in the morning, and they'll run for 16 hours until 8 o'clock at night. It's good for plants to have that respite in the evening, so the lights get turned off for a short amount of time in the evening. But just to show you, these Bootstrap Farmer trays are 10 by 10s, And so they fit really nicely on the heat mats that I have. These are 10 by 20 heat mats, so you can fit 2 on a heat mat. When I started this last year, I just couldn't imagine having enough room to start like 72 of the same plant. And so this size tray I thought was perfect for the size garden that we have. I believe on the Bootstrap Farmer website, they're called seed starting trays. You can get the whole kit, so you get the domes included, the cells, and then the trays, and there's room to grow 36 plants in each of these. So we have 2 trays of Sweet William going, 1 tray of foxglove, 1 tray of eucalyptus. And germination on these for the eucalyptus and the Sweet William, it's 7 to 14 days. So that means within a week or 2, I should start to see things popping up. And then on the foxglove, that's 14 to 21 days. So 2 to 3 weeks should start seeing the foxglove pop up. And then I had put this 10-20 tray on the shelf just so you could see what that looks like. You can do 4 of these across. You have about maybe, you know, an inch or 2 on either side hanging out, which I did do this for a few things last year. It didn't seem to affect these outside plants very much. Or you can fit 2 10 by 20s across that way, if that helps you. So that's our setup. We have 2 of these going, so we'll have lots of plants going here. As we start to slowly add over the next few months, things that we will be growing.